Hey, I'm David Barefoot, and this is the Holy Shyft podcast. So, inside out or outside in? So I spent 20 years of my adult life not realizing that I was approaching things from the outside in. What's that look like? I was constantly focused on what the outside world needed or wanted from me for me to feel good, be defined as a success, achieve the feedback that I wanted, that I thought I needed. It was outside in. Whether it had to do with my body, most of my focus on my workout routine was what I look like. The journey for my personal just well-being, my emotions, my connection with God, my walk pursuing this relationship with God. I ended up in religion. I ended up watching people that seemed to be living a life that I wanted. And so I started again to look at the outside in approach for feedback and for my true north on the compass, if you will. Then go to relationships. The marriage looking good and me looking good as a husband was, when you're outside in, you start to look at how you look from the outside in and the feedback coming from what my wife thinks or feels, which is, well, we'll stay outside in. And then similarly, when it comes to business, when it comes to my finances and how I'm managing money, the businesses that I was building, my focus when it's outside in means I'm getting my feedback from what's coming outside, from what the world perceives of me, what the world perceives of my business, what the world perceives of my status financially. That affected, obviously, how I handled money. So all those areas outside in. Why? Because I'm a loser? No. If you relate, is it because you're a loser? Because that's the way that you chose? I'm not taking away your personal responsibility or mine. The fact, though, is it was modeled for me by my parents. It was modeled for me by the culture and the world that I grew up in. I certainly wasn't taught an alternative in school. They were following the same model of culture. So what would be the opposite? Inside out. Before we go into the inside out, I just want to give you a simple way of looking at it that we love at Holy Shyft, which is the word behave. You could also break it down as be, have. And I'd have you consider that behave is an outside-in frame. I need to behave the way somebody else says I'm supposed to. I need to behave the way my parents told me to behave. That's where it started. I need to behave the way culture told me to show up. I needed to behave once I started to explore this feeling inside that there's something bigger than me, that I don't have all the answers, so what's this thing about God? And so I lean in and I have an encounter with God that's an inside experience. I can't explain it, can't unfeel it. Many of you know what I'm talking about. And those who don't, you have a pull like I did. There's something uneasy about this God thing. I'm not condemning you. I'm saying let's call it out. It's better to say, I don't know what I believe. I don't know where I stand. I just know I don't want to be like that jerk over there. I know I don't want to fake it like that guy or gal over there. So you're in this place where you're getting honest. That's beautiful. That's an inside work, and that's where it begins. But as soon as I said yes to and took a knee and said, yes, I want to know this relationship, and allowed that inside stirring to give me an encounter with a powerful, living, loving God, I was on fire. I was free. It wasn't just an hour or two, but in the hindsight, it looks like it was hours. And within hours, I started now to lean into how to live that out. And next thing you know, I find myself sitting in a church and sitting in Bible studies with people that were behaving and people that were telling me how I needed to behave. And so that outside-in pattern gets reinforced. But that same word is two words, be and have. So what's the shifted alternative? First of all, for those of you who are new here, holy shift, those two words have meaning, as they should. And we're drawing from the origin of the word holy, which is a Hebrew word, and it means other than. It means special. It's set apart. It's the piece that you set aside because it's your favorite. It's different than everything else. And then shift is an alternative. And in this implication, it's the chosen shift. I realize you could shift negative or positive. The implication, because of set apart and special, is to make the shift to the intended, special, set apart alternative. And that word shift is spelled with a Y. And the Y is there to remind us there's always a fork in the road. Every moment represents a choice to just let things go as they do from the outside in this behave world, where you get outside in results which are less than, not set apart, not special, or you recognize the chance to shift and to choose the intended, shifted, other than special outcome. We constantly talk about how to do that and what that looks like. Obviously, sometimes it means doing nothing but just waiting and holding space. And when you know there is a shifted alternative, you've already now activated your brain, your eyes, your ears, your senses, your energy, your heart, even your gut, to see things that you wouldn't have otherwise seen, to hear things that you wouldn't have otherwise heard, that you want to, that want to be heard, that you want to hear, that you want to see. So, holy shift, from that shifted standpoint, we're shifting from this behave to be and have. That holy shift is the reality that we get to be from the inside out who we're made to be. What does that look like? You are unique. There's no one like you. I'm not pumping you up. This is not a motivational speech. It's a scientific fact. There is nothing in the universe just like you. And my belief, you have to reconcile this for yourself, is you're made in the image of the creator of all things. Forget religion. But it does say in the Bible, which you don't have to take that as a living word if you're not ready to yet. I'm just referring to it as this number one most distributed book in history that is full of secrets to powerful living, to successful living. And in there, it says you're created in his image and there's nothing else like you. You are his favorite. And so he loves you. You're made in his image. You're unique. So you get to be you unless you choose to behave. Because once you align with the frame of behave and outside in, you no longer are vibrating at the frequency you're meant to vibrate at. You're not showing up in your fullest, best version of you. You get to be you, and then when you do, you get to have this power and this peace of knowing. The word peace means nothing missing, nothing broken. That's its origin. Complete is another version of the word. So the completed version of you, when you show up that way and you be that, you get to have that peace and that power flowing through you. And with it, in the midst of storms and shit hitting the fan, you have this certainty, this joy even in the midst of it. It's what the world needs. It's what your wife needs. It's what your husband needs. It's what your kids need. You know it. You've been in that flow, in that zone, and felt it. Even if it's only been for moments, you've tasted it. So this is just an invitation to you. I'd have you consider that recognizing behaving life is a hiding life. Behaving life is a less than life. I'm not saying you're not already a winner. I'm not saying you haven't done great things. I'm just saying, what if you literally flipped the switch and said, I'm going to be and I'm going to have an impact on every moment, or as many as I can. You're going to miss sometimes, but I'm going to choose this shifted concept and believe there is a better than outcome for today, for this week, for this month, for this year, for this life. And it all begins with this moment. So again, I would invite you to look at the outside-in behave approach to life and how much less than it is. And then invite you to just say, okay, I want to make the change. In fact, I'll tell you, if you don't know how to do that, you need to get help. Don't waste any more time. Find somebody that's modeling it for you. Obviously, at Holy Shyft, it's our passion. Stick around here. Check in on the next episode. Share this with somebody else. Pay it forward and start to lean into this concept. If you need more, there's resources out there. Let us know. Reach out to us and we can share with you things that you can do to start making this a practice. I talk about it now and then, the operating system that I live in that is part of the Holy Shyft reigning OS. The reigning operating system is so that you can reign in this be and have frame. So we'll pick up on more of these concepts next episode. I'm David Barefoot. Thanks for tuning in to the Holy Shyft podcast.